Beyond.
Huber, what's your topic for us? You're a guest of honor. What did you bring to us for on the table?
I'm gonna pull a fast one here. You guys said you talked about PS4 Pro to death. It was originally gonna be PS4 Pro. We kind of touched on it with Scorpio. I just got a little fun one. Your game of the years so far.
Ooh, GOTY so far. Okay, so give me 1 second to pull up Vamp a little bit. I'm going to pull up a list because I have a list, I think.
Okay, so let's talk about PS4 Pro for 2 seconds. That thing looks like a goddamn sandwich, bro. That thing
He's
looks
ready.
like a sandwich.
The Big Mac.
Yeah.
Jordan's been waiting for the last hour
Oh my gosh.
PS4 Pro.
Give us the rant.
So we talked about our favorite consoles, the best consoles of all time. I've told Dom this. Dom has already heard this. This is the ugliest console of all time by far. And I'm even going back
man.
to
that original Xbox is hideous.
No, dude, this is uglier. Like this could,
man.
you could at least
I don't know.
have the Xbox sitting there, and no one's gonna like freak out. Like if you just like walk past a PS4 Pro, you're gonna be like, "Damn, what? Who? Sony made that? Are you kidding me? Sony made that? No, I mean like." I'm even thinking about like those janky ass like the Philips and the Jaguars and like the off-brand consoles. Like at least they just look like decent electronics. I don't know, man.
I think you're just really mad that it doesn't have a faceplate, and you have some pretty dope faceplates you want to be able to put on it.
Exactly. Like, why did they just start putting out faceplates, Sony themselves, and then they're like, oh, screw that. We're not doing that anymore.
Going to the GOTY though, so I brought up my personal list. Obviously, you guys talked about it on the last Easy A podcast, Huber, and so the caveat on this is I don't think there's anything the rest of the year that will take its place for me personally. The only thing I can think of is maybe Gears 4. Who knows? Last Guardian might be crazy or something, you know. Also, the other caveat, I don't own a PlayStation 4, so Uncharted 4 isn't on my list, and it's not because I don't think it's a good game or anything. It's just I didn't play it, and I don't feel it's right to put a game on my list if I haven't played it. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm gonna work from the bottom up. So Dark Souls 3 is on my list. Obviously, it's a must-have. It's Dark Souls 3. I don't want to talk it to death, but it, like we stated earlier, it's the best in the Dark Souls series. It does everything the best. It has, outside of Dark Souls 1, it has some of the most memorable bosses, I think. 2 didn't feel like a Dark Souls game in the sense of like a lot of the gameplay aspects. Also, a lot of the bosses weren't very memorable to me personally. That's a big thing with Dark Souls, is remembering the bosses. Like Ornstein and Smaug are some of my favorite characters in any video game.
Hell yeah.
Next on my list is Doom. This is probably my biggest surprise for the year. Doom is the most impressive game to me from what I thought it was going to be. It was the biggest surprise to me. You know, it had a little bit of troubled development, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play Doom because I love shooters. And I picked up that game and I played it, and I was just entranced. Like, that game is so well made. Like, the story isn't, you know, Last of Us or anything, and it's there. But the shooting is so fluid. The mechanics are so well. The upgrade system is impeccable. The game just looks pretty. It runs well. I'm not a frame rate savant, but like that game just looked so damn good. So yeah, Doom is on my list. Next up on my list, I have The Final Station, which I've talked about ad nauseum earlier in the show. It's just a game that is interesting from the fact of it puts two different types of games together. Like the train simulation is very important, and so is the 2D adventuring and shooting. I think it plays in the same vein of Shovel Knight, of taking all of these old aspects from old video games and putting them into a new version, right? Shovel Knight's one of my favorite games of all time. I love Shovel Knight to death, and I think The Final Station is doing that, but differently. And it's just so well made. I think the story is told in a very interesting way. I just like the whole like literally every aspect of that game, from the gameplay to the storytelling to the graphics. Beautiful. Next up on my list is Overwatch. This is teetering on my personal game of the year, but it's not quite there. Overwatch is a fantastic game. It's Pixar meets Team Fortress 2. Like, it's just a beautiful game. The mechanics are very well done. I love multiplayer games that have layers where, depending on how deep you want to get into the game, it's all up to you, right? So you can play on a baseline level, you can play casual games, have a great time with Overwatch with your friends, but if you really take it serious and you want to go competitive, you get your best friends, and you get them playing the roles that they like, and you can, you know, try to win matches and try to have a fun time and strategize and stuff like that. One thing you said on the EZA podcast, I believe it was you, Huber, might have been somebody else, but like that game plays so differently depending on what characters you are. And it lends well to every different play style. I have friends that have never played a Call of Duty game or a shooter period, and they love that game because they don't need to shoot. They can have Reinhardt run around, swing a hammer, protect people. Just the different variations of gameplay styles, and that game is impeccable. The shooting mechanics are great. Blizzard knows how to make games. They know how to polish them. The loot system is perfectly fine. It doesn't feel super microtransaction-y, except for the whole Summer Games thing where like you couldn't build the skins yourself with gold. That was a little weird. I think they might fix that in the future. They've been tweaking the competitive mode over and over to get it right. I just think it's a great game all around. Nothing much else to say. The game of the year is Inside. I believe I'm the only person here that's played Inside, I believe. You were talking about, Huber, that you own it, but you haven't gotten around to playing it yet. The game is just so well made. Play Dead, I'll spend $100 on their next game. If in 6 years, if the jump from Limbo to Inside is what Inside is to their next game, I'll pay $100 for that game. I don't care. It could be 2 hours long.
Jesus Christ.
That game is so great, and like, there's a lot of people saying that they didn't like the ending, that they didn't understand it, and like some people are like, video games need to have a meaning, or it needs to have like, no, sometimes interpretation is like really good, and I like shows that do that. Maybe not to like the Sopranos level of like cut the cam, it's a black screen, but I just like that game. The animation is so well done in that game. It's just so pretty. It's so well done. Somebody somewhere, I forgot where, said that every animation in that game is there for a reason. And it's true. Like it was a small team, but they spent every little detail and put into that game of like, if you die this way, this happens. I don't want to talk too much about it because I think it's a game that deserves to be played, and if you just you don't want to spoil it for people, so just get around to playing. That's my game of the year, so that's pretty much it.
I got a short list. For me, it was only between really Dark Souls 3 and Uncharted 4, and it was tough. In a different universe, I might have picked Dark Souls 3, but I was just a little burnt out on the series, as good as that game was. And Uncharted 4 was just spectacular to me. Like, definitely the best game in the series. Everything about it I thought was pretty near flawless. I loved every aspect of it. So that's the easy pick for me. Not chewing your guys' ears off with my spiel here, but the only thing coming out that I think might jump it or has the chance would be Dishonored 2. I'm extremely excited for that. I don't envision it jumping Uncharted 4 for me, but there's a chance, so we'll see.
I keep forgetting Watch Dogs 2 is coming out this year too.
Oh, yeah.
I keep forgetting about that game. Yeah. Jordan, you want to
go? I'm actually kind of building a list right now.
Okay, Huber, you want to jump out?
Uncharted 4 as well, and Dark Souls 3. Uncharted 4, I love, Dom, that you said it's the best in the series because, I have rants about the power of nostalgia.
That game does it.
And it's, oh my god, Uncharted is so good. And the multiplayer too. Like, the reason it takes Overwatch for me is because, sure, the multiplayer in Overwatch is better than the multiplayer in Uncharted, but not by much. And then, of course, there's the story. So it's like this total package, this full, just meaty steak dinner of a video game. And then... yeah, Dark Souls 3, again, it's my favorite Souls game as well, which is just insane. This year we had 2 franchises that came back and gave us, like, the best in the series. So it's just a hell of a time to be alive, hell of a time to be playing video games. Coming out in the future, Battlefield 1 is really big for me. Kind of a Battlefield fanatic. I don't think it'll overtake those games. I think it could sneak in like a nomination though. But the last one I want to bring up is Deus Ex.
Nice.
Mankind Divided. It has made me look at the way I play video games differently. I had a very profound epiphany playing this game. I'm a completionist. I'm OCD. Every game I play. Open world games are my nightmare. I have to do everything in a game to truly move on, and I'm really strict with myself too about just like finishing games. Like if I start a game, I'm finishing it, even if I'm like lukewarm on it. If it's like a 6 or a 7, I'm getting through the game. Deus Ex taught me that it taught me that you can't play every single game the same way.
Yeah.
And with the same mindset. And it was a crazy eye-opening experience, and definitely like one of the biggest moments of my life for me was playing this game.
That's crazy. So, do you think anything coming out is gonna change your list? Do you think anything has a chance to hop any of those games?
Besides Battlefield,
the only thing that to me really has a chance to overtake everything is Final Fantasy 15.
Yep, hopefully.
So we'll see. You know, if it comes out and it's the JRPG the world has been waiting for, then yeah. So
it's interesting too. This is one of the first years where like Battlefield and Call of Duty aren't on the same like timeline as far as like where the game's taking place. So it's going to be interesting. Also, I think there's a lot of bad blood with the gamers of having the COD 4 remaster as a package and you can't buy it standalone. I think that's going to get...
God.
Yeah, that's I played the Battlefield 1 beta. I'm not a huge Battlefield guy, but that beta played so well for me personally. Like, you know, Battlefield's all about the environments and everything, and that desert was so alive. And they're just... Those games are so well made. I always usually have a problem with the Battlefield stories for being a little lackluster, but most of the time that's not why you buy a Battlefield game. It's for the multiplayer. So
yeah, because with the exclusion of like Bad Company, they really only threw it in during Battlefield 3, and that was like a mission type thing. It wasn't even really like a full narrative.
Yeah.
Battlefield 4 was like the first true campaign, again, other than Bad Company.
Yep.
But yeah, Battlefield 1, hopefully, you know, gets it up to snuff. This will be like the first real test.
And there's so much to work with there. Like if I couldn't imagine them messing up, you know, that story. There's so much there. So we'll see. I'm interested.
Bad Company just did it perfectly, man. It's like using the strengths of Battlefield to enhance your story. It's like you're these guys and, you know, it's like Dirty Dozen style. It's like, yo, we got to get all the way over there.
Yep.
And you just keep going through these cities, and like armies come, and you just destroy the entire place and move on. Like,
well, I think it also had a lot of lighthearted comedy in it too that lent itself to, you know, a lot of times during that kind of time frame, there a lot of shooters were like grays and browns and so serious and all this stuff.
So serious.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, here's a little bit of comedy. So, Jordan, how's your list coming? You done?
Yes, I am good to go here.
All right, sounds like you were typing a short essay.
Couldn't catch me on that curveball here where I got it. If I just had to say one right off the bat, I'm going to go with my game of the year currently is Quantum Break.
Dude, sick pick.
Indeed.
Not enough love for Quantum Break.
Indeed, yeah. So, yeah, I feel like this game's not getting nearly enough love. I feel like people didn't play it enough because it wasn't on PS4, or enough people didn't play it, I should say. And yeah, man, I feel like this came out right around Uncharted 4, and to me, it just like beat the shit out of Uncharted 4 as far as story and gameplay and atmosphere and characters. And
your face says it all, Huber.
On and on and on. I won't even.
Hey, I love it. I love the game. I love the game for sure.
Yeah.
Because. Sorry, just to interject, because the whole, like, turning the cover shooter genre on its head. I think Uncharted did it as well, emphasizing mobility.
Yeah.
Quantum Break, same thing, all about movement.
Oh, yeah.
Do not stop. Keep moving. I love that.
Well, and these guys know I'm super into superhero games, and I totally consider Quantum Break to be one. So if I had to pick, that would be one. My second would probably be Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't say this is like my favorite game of the year just because it's kind of a reimagining. It's not exactly like all brand new, and it's not really as good as Quantum Break. But Ratchet and Clank is one of my favorite series of all time. This game is obviously gorgeous. The voice acting's of course on par because you got all the same characters. I like the way that they frame the story, and I like the way that they handled the reimagining, the reboot. You know, of course, it's Ratchet and Clank, so you got like some fourth wall breaking jokes in there and stuff. Yeah, and Insomniac just killed it again. So shout out to that game.
What's your favorite Ratchet and Clank?
Favorite Ratchet and Clank, dude? Absolutely, and this is a curveball.
There's only one right answer to this question.
Uh-oh.
Be careful.
It's Ratchet Deadlocked.
Whoa!
Ratchet Deadlocked.
What?
Ratchet Deadlocked, dude. I'm all about that gameplay, and that game,
Bold.
like, you're talking about Bad Company where you're just rolling into towns and just beating people up. Ratchet
Yeah.
Deadlocked is just like
Sick.
Ratchet. You don't have Clank with you because
Yeah.
he's like he's on the
Yeah.
comms, but he
Respect.
yeah, Ratchet gets thrown into this like battle arena, and you're just like destroying fools and just getting like overpowered, but you have so many people coming at you that it balances out. So I mean, I feel like there's better Ratchet and Clank games. I've played them all, I love them all, but dude, something about Deadlocked is just special
That's
to
cool.
me.
That's cool.
That game
So,
sounds like
Cracking time for me.
that game sounds like Ratchet Dynasty Warriors from the way you described it. Just like hordes of enemies coming at you.
I mean, there's definitely like a difficulty to it. It's not just like
Yeah.
blazing through people, but yeah, it's a cool game. And then I guess I'll just have some honorable mentions here. I know it's not a full game, but it basically is. I want to shout out Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. I mean, yeah, for all intents and purposes, that game is a full game. You know, so much content, so much to do, so many, like, they totally revamped the graphics and the way things look and feel. So shout out to that one. Shout out, I didn't love this game. I didn't get too far into it, but I think it's really cool. It was free on PS Plus earlier this summer, and that's Fury. It's kind of like the Boss Rush games, or Boss Rush game where you're, it's got a lot of Afro Samurai vibes if you're a fan of that show. You're basically a samurai who is trying to escape from this jail, and so you have to beat all these badasses on the way. Hopefully I'll get back to that game at some point. And then Hyper Light Drifter is a game that is so close to being incredible. It's so close to being awesome. And I feel like just, I talked a lot about it on this podcast. I feel like some of the nuances of the way combat works just didn't click for me. So I really like that game, but I don't love it, and that's why it's just an honorable mention. And then coming out this year, I would say Mafia 3, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Dishonored 2 are my most anticipated. And I know Rise of the Tomb Raider technically came out last year, but I didn't play it, so I think any of those three could essentially take that spot, but it's going to be tough to beat Quantum Break. And then Gravity Rush 2. I love Gravity Rush, and it coming to PS4 and being like an actual full HD open world, I think could do a lot of things for that franchise. I could see it being a real sleeper hit here at the end of the year. So yeah, really excited for Gravity Rush 2. Who knows, man? Maybe Final Fantasy 15 or Last Guardian will come through. Maybe Watch Dogs. I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm on Watch Dogs 2 right now, just because I'm just kind of getting that like bland Ubisoft open world vibe a little bit. But yeah, man, we'll see.